What if I told you that 2,000 years ago, in the crowded marketplaces of ancient Rome and the marble courtyards of Greece, philosophers discovered a way to face life's chaos with unshakable calm? That even as the world burned around them, wars, betrayal, and personal loss, they moved forward with clarity, strength, and purpose. That's not fantasy, that's Stoicism. And today, in a world filled with endless notifications, opinion storms, and the pressure to have it all figured out, we need this ancient wisdom more than ever. Let's be honest, life is not easy. You will face heartbreak. You will be overlooked. People will misjudge you. The promotion might go to someone else. The person you love might walk away. And in those moments, what will you do? Panic? Lash out? Retreat? Or will you pause? Will you ground yourself in what you can control and let go of what you can't? That's the Stoic path, not the cold rejection of emotion, but the mastery of it. A choice to show up with strength, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because here's the truth. You cannot control the world, but you can control your response. You can't predict tomorrow, but you can prepare for it today. You cannot silence critics. However, you can reclaim control over yourself. This video is not just a list of principles, it's a blueprint for living. We're diving into the 12 Stoic principles that have guided emperors, warriors, and thinkers, and can guide you too. If you've ever felt like you're one setback away from breaking, if you're tired of reacting to everything that doesn't go your way, then maybe, just maybe, this is what you've been searching for. Don't just watch this video. Absorb it. Reflect on it. Let it challenge you. Because when you finish this journey, you won't just know how to stay calm in the storm. You'll know how to walk straight through it stronger, wiser, and freer. Let's begin. You are responsible for your reaction. Pause for a moment and ask yourself this. Have you ever let a single comment ruin your entire day? A stranger cuts you off in traffic. A coworker dismisses your idea. A friend forgets to text you back. Suddenly, you're angry, defensive, consumed by a storm of frustration. But here's the truth. They didn't ruin your day. You did. That's what the Stoics believed. And it's where real freedom begins. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That's not just a catchy quote, it's a challenge, a call to take radical ownership of your inner world. You see, most people live like emotional puppets. Someone pulls a string and they dance angry, jealous, and afraid. But a Stoic? A Stoic cuts the strings. Imagine your emotions like a volume dial. Most people let others control it. One wrong look and they crank it up to rage. One kind word and it's joy. But what if you held the dial? What if your peace wasn't so easy to shake? That's what this principle invites you to do. Take the wheel back. Choose your response with intention. Next time you feel triggered, don't react. Pause. Name what you're feeling. Anger, embarrassment, sadness. Ask yourself, is this within my control? Then act not from impulse, but from principle. It sounds simple, but it's not easy. It's a daily discipline, a quiet strength. You don't have to be cold or indifferent. This isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about recognizing that your emotions are messengers, not masters. A rude comment? That's just noise. A rejection? That's feedback, not a verdict on your worth. The more you practice this, the more powerful you become. not in an external sense, but in the only way that matters: control over yourself. So the next time life tests you, and it will, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask instead, "How do I choose to respond?" That's the power of Stoicism. That's the beginning of emotional mastery. Stop expecting people to behave like you. Let's be honest. How often have you felt disappointed because someone didn't treat you the way you would have treated them? You go out of your way to be thoughtful, generous, and loyal, and then silence, indifference, maybe even betrayal. And deep down, a voice rises. I would never do that to them. But here's the hard truth. That expectation, it's a trap. Stoicism teaches us something counterintuitive, even uncomfortable. People are not obligated to reflect your values. Why? Because they are not you. They've had different experiences, different priorities, different wiring. Expecting others to think, feel, or act like you do is like expecting the weather to obey your calendar. It won't. And the more you expect it to, the more you suffer. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly, "You can commit injustice by doing nothing." What did he mean? That sometimes we wrong ourselves by refusing to accept reality. Let's break this down. You send a heartfelt message, no reply. You help a friend move, and they ghost you when it's your turn. You hold space for someone else's emotions, but they shut you down when you need support. Each moment hurts not because of what happened, but because of what you expected to happen. But what if, instead of being surprised by people's shortcomings, you accepted them as part of human nature? Here's how to live this principle. Drop the "I would never" narrative. It's not about you. Don't let disappointment become bitterness. Focus on your response, not their behavior. This doesn't mean you become cynical or stop caring. It means you set your peace above your projections. As Epictetus said, when someone irritates you, it's because you've forgotten that they are who they are. So the next time someone lets you down, don't spiral. Don't take it personally. Pause, breathe, and remember, their choices are theirs. Your response, that's yours. Let others be who they are. You be who you want to be. That's the Stoic path. That's emotional sovereignty. Detach your worth from external validation. There's a dangerous myth we've all been sold that your value is measured by how others see you. The number of likes, the praise you receive, the way someone smiles or doesn't when you speak. It feels good to be appreciated, no doubt. But the moment your self-worth depends on those fleeting signals, you've handed your power to someone else. Stoicism rejects this illusion. Epictetus said it plainly. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Because real confidence doesn't come from applause, it comes from alignment, from living in integrity with your values, whether anyone notices or not. Think of this. You deliver a presentation at work. You've prepared for days. You speak with clarity, with purpose. But afterward, no feedback. Or worse, a dismissive comment. Your mind starts spinning. Did I mess up? Did they even care? But pause. Ask yourself, did I show up with intention? Did I give my best? If the answer is yes, then that's enough. You are not the approval you receive. You are not the criticism you endure. You are the effort, the courage, the values behind your actions. Here's how to practice this principle. Speak and act from your values, not for validation. Welcome feedback, but don't be defined by it. Revisit your purpose when doubt creeps in. Remember, Validation is sweet, but it's not your sustenance. Your worth isn't out there. It's in here. And the moment you realize that, you become unshakable. Control what you can. Let go of what you can't. How much of your day is spent worrying about things you can't control? Traffic, the weather, someone else's opinion, a result you can't predict. Now pause and imagine the relief of releasing that weight. The Stoics teach us a line that divides the chaos. What's in your control and what isn't. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't just a line, it's a compass, a way to navigate through stormy seas without sinking. Let's say you're waiting for an important message. Minutes turn to hours. You keep checking your phone, feeling your anxiety rise. But ask yourself, can I control when they respond? No, but you can control how you spend that time. Your breath, your thoughts, your focus. When you redirect your attention to what's within your control, your attitude, and your actions, you reclaim energy, you reclaim peace. Here's how to practice this. Separate the signal from the noise. Focus on what you can influence. Ignore the rest. Respond, don't react. Choose presence over panic. Remind yourself daily, my peace isn't dependent on things outside me. This isn't about giving up. It's about showing up better. When you stop fighting the uncontrollable, you start living with clarity. Let go, not because you don't care, but because it's the only way to move forward with power. Embrace discomfort as a catalyst for growth. In a world obsessed with ease, comfort is sold as the ultimate goal. But here's a truth the Stoics knew well. Comfort rarely builds character. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." They believe that discomfort is not something to avoid, but something to seek, to welcome, to train with. Why? Because adversity reveals what ease conceals. It exposes who we are, what we value, and how resilient we've become. Think of a blade. Left unused, it rusts. But when honed and tested, it becomes sharp, reliable, and unbreakable. That's you. Growth doesn't happen in the warm glow of comfort. It happens in the fire. When you stretch yourself, when you choose the hard path, when you do the thing you fear, waking early, saying no, facing criticism, speaking your truth. Each discomfort is a rep in your emotional gym. The modern world wants you soft, passive, dependent. Stoicism says, be the opposite, be disciplined, be prepared, be uncomfortable on purpose. Here's how to begin. Seek small discomforts, cold showers, digital detoxes, saying less, doing more. Lean into failure, not as a dead end, but as a stepping stone. Redefine comfort, not as ease, but as knowing you can handle hard things. When you welcome discomfort, you stop fearing it. And that's when growth becomes inevitable. Because the goal isn't to feel good all the time, it's to become someone who thrives no matter what. Know what you can control and let go of the rest. If you're constantly frustrated, anxious, or angry, ask yourself one question. Am I trying to control something I can't? Because here's the hard truth. The vast majority of what happens in life is outside your control. Other people's opinions, the weather, the economy, even the outcome of your best efforts, none of it is fully yours to command. And that's not a reason to panic. it's a reason to breathe. The Stoics drew a sharp line between what is up to us and what is not. They taught us that peace begins the moment we stop fighting reality. As Epictetus said, some things are in our control and others not. That's the compass. That's the boundary that brings clarity and calm. Imagine you're preparing for a big interview. You can't control whether the interviewer is in a bad mood. You can't control who else applies. But you can control your preparation, your mindset, your presence. When you obsess over the outcome, you drain your energy. When you focus on your effort, you empower yourself. Here's how to apply this. Start with awareness. When upset, pause. Ask, is this within my control? Act where you can. Show up, speak clearly, live honorably. Release the rest. Outcomes, reactions, expectations, set them free. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing to spend your energy where it matters. In doing so, you stop being a prisoner of circumstance and become the master of your peace. Practice voluntary discomfort. In a world obsessed with comfort, ease, and instant gratification, choosing discomfort sounds irrational. But to the Stoics, it was a cornerstone of strength. They believed that voluntary discomfort, stepping into controlled difficulty, wasn't just a way to build resilience, it was a way to prepare for life. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?' Why? Because the man who's faced hunger, cold, or rejection by choice becomes immune to the fear of them. He no longer trembles at the thought of losing comfort. He's already trained for it. You don't need to sleep on the floor or fast for a week, but you can choose tiny discomforts daily. Wake early and embrace the cold. Skip the elevator and take the stairs. Say no when people-pleasing would be easier. Speak your truth when silence feels safer. Each moment of discomfort, embraced intentionally, sharpens your mind and toughens your spirit. The purpose isn't suffering, it's freedom. You remind yourself that your peace does not depend on perfect circumstances. You become flexible, grounded, and unshaken when the real storms arrive. Comfort breeds dependence. Discomfort breeds character. So ask yourself, where can I challenge myself today? Not to punish, but to prepare. Because once you've made peace with discomfort, life has far fewer weapons left to shake you. Choose stillness over reactivity. In a noisy world, silence has become a rare virtue, and yet, it is in silence that our greatest strength often hides. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't rush to react. They paused. They waited. They let emotions settle like mud in water before choosing their response. Think about the last time someone said something that stung. Did you lash out or stew in resentment? That instant reaction, though natural, often only adds fuel to the fire. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Stillness gives you that power. It's not passivity, it's clarity. A silent moment between stimulus and response is where wisdom lives. How do we practice this? Pause before you reply to criticism. Ask, is this worth my peace? Resist the urge to always have the last word. Replace outrage with curiosity. Ask questions instead of making accusations. When someone disrespects you, when life throws a jab, don't flinch. Don't explode. Go still, like a mountain in a storm, because in that stillness, you become untouchable. In a world that celebrates shouting, choose calm. Let others waste energy on chaos. Yours is conserved for a purpose. Stoicism doesn't teach us to silence our voice forever. It teaches us to master when and how to speak. And sometimes, the loudest message is sent in total silence. Reframe criticism as a mirror for growth. Let's be honest, criticism stings. Whether it comes from a stranger, a colleague, or someone close to us, our instinct is to recoil, defend, or shut down. But what if we saw criticism not as an attack, but as a mirror? The Stoics believed that feedback, even when harsh, was a tool, not a wound. Epictetus once said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." The same applies to criticism. What bothers us often reveals where we're still fragile, and that's a map to our growth. Instead of asking, "Why are they judging me?" ask, "What part of this feedback holds truth?" Imagine presenting your work with pride, only to receive a blunt critique. At first, anger flares, but then you breathe, you step back, you analyze. Maybe there's a flaw you missed, a blind spot exposed. Suddenly, that criticism becomes your teacher. To reframe criticism like a Stoic, pause. Don't react immediately. Let your emotions settle before responding. Evaluate the source. Is the feedback constructive? Is it coming from someone who wants to see you grow? Extract the lesson. Take what sharpens you. Leave behind what weakens you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake. I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after." This is humility. This is a strength. Growth doesn't always come dressed in applause. Sometimes it arrives in uncomfortable truths. Welcome them, because the person who learns from criticism doesn't just grow, they evolve. Master the art of letting go. Imagine gripping a burning coal, holding it tight, determined to throw it at someone who wronged you. But the longer you hold on, the more it burns. Not them, but you. That's what happens when we cling to anger, resentment, and past pain. Letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing peace over poison. It's about recognizing that holding on to what hurt you only chains you to it. The Stoics weren't interested in vengeance or dwelling in pain. They were interested in freedom. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And part of that power is deciding what to carry and what to put down. Think of someone who betrayed your trust. The temptation is to replay the hurt, to build arguments in your head. But ask yourself, what's the cost? Is that energy building your future or anchoring you to the past? To master the art of letting go, acknowledge the emotion. Don't suppress it. Feel it. Name it, then move through it. Shift your focus. Bring your attention to what you can influence, your actions, your mindset, and your next step. Forgive for your freedom. Not to excuse the wrong, but to liberate yourself from it. Letting go is an act of courage, not weakness. It's choosing healing over harboring. And the moment you release the weight of the past, your hands are free to build the life you want. Cultivate inner stillness amid outer chaos. Picture yourself in the center of a storm. The winds are howling, the world is spinning, and yet at the very core, there's calm, stillness. That's the state the Stoics cultivated not by accident, but by design. In our fast-paced, overstimulated lives, chaos isn't a possibility, it's a given. Emails, notifications, arguments, deadlines, noise. But the Stoics believed that true power came not from controlling the chaos, but from mastering your response to it. Seneca once said, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." The port is your stillness, your clarity, your grounded sense of purpose. Inner stillness doesn't mean inaction. It means acting with calm resolve rather than frenzied reaction. How do you get there? Create space for solitude. Even 5 minutes of silence a day without a phone, without a screen, can reconnect you to your center. Journal your thoughts. Externalize the noise. Turn chaos into clarity by naming your emotions and asking deeper questions. Guard your inputs. Be mindful of what you consume from news, social media, and conversations. Not everything deserves access to your mental peace. When the world moves too fast, the Stoic doesn't speed up. He slows down, he breathes, he observes, he waits. He chooses his response instead of being hijacked by impulse. Stillness is not withdrawal from life, it's anchoring yourself deeper in it. The quieter you become, the more you can hear what truly matters. In a world addicted to reaction, stillness is a revolution. Align action with values. The final and perhaps most essential Stoic principle is this: let your actions mirror your values. In a world obsessed with talk, the Stoics chose action. They believed that philosophy wasn't a thing to be discussed endlessly, but lived fully. As Epictetus put it, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Ask yourself, when the pressure is on, do your actions reflect the person you aspire to be? Or do they fold under convenience, emotion, or fear? It's easy to have values when life is smooth. It's in discomfort when things get messy or uncertain that your true code is tested. Living in alignment means narrowing the gap between what you say and what you do. It's turning wisdom into practice, ideals into habits, and virtue into behavior. It's asking yourself daily, did I act with courage or choose comfort? Did I respond with patience or with pride? Did I do the right thing or the easy one? You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's your call to action, because integrity isn't built in big moments. It's shaped in the smallest choices. The email you send, the word you speak, the habit you repeat. Every action either reinforces your values or erodes them. So let your life be your message. When people see how you carry yourself in pressure, in pain, in triumph, they'll see your philosophy in motion. You don't need to preach Stoicism to anyone. Just live it. And in doing so, you'll become not only a student of the Stoics, but a walking example of their timeless wisdom, living the Stoic way, every single day. So here we are, 12 timeless Stoic principles, each one a compass to guide you through chaos, doubt, and the noise of modern life. But let's be honest, reading them, even hearing them, is only the beginning. The real test is what you do next. Because Stoicism isn't a philosophy for passive consumption. It's a daily discipline, a way of living, a constant return to what truly matters. Will you remember every lesson tomorrow morning? Maybe not. Will you stumble? Certainly. But that's the point. Stoicism isn't about perfection. It's about practice. It's about showing up to your life with clarity, courage, and calm, even when things are uncertain, especially when they're uncertain. The Stoics believed that wisdom wasn't something you waited for. It was something you built choice by choice, habit by habit. It lived in how you handled setbacks, in how you treated people. How did you speak to yourself when no one was listening? You won't always get it right, but every moment is a new opportunity to choose differently, to pause before reacting, to anchor yourself in values instead of emotions, to let go of what you can't control and double down on what you can. Because in a world that often pulls you in every direction, Stoicism pulls you back to center, to stillness, to strength. So let this be your invitation. Don't just admire the Stoics. Don't just quote them. Live like one. If this video resonated with you, if even one principle sparked a shift, carry it with you, practice it, and when you feel ready, share it. Because wisdom is meant to be lived and then passed on. Thank you for being here. Stay mindful, stay resilient, and above all, stay grounded. This is Stoic Vault. Until next time.